Imagine this. You get a property under contract for $300,000. You think all fixed up, it'll sell for $450,000. Right when you go to sell it to your cash buyer, he says your numbers are off. The ARV isn't $450,000. It's actually $420,000. Boom. Your deal is done. It's killed. You have no deal. Now, how can we avoid this? If you knew how to comp the property correctly and you knew what the actual ARV was, then you wouldn't have given the seller that number. You would have went lower, right? And then when you present it to your cash buyer, then you actually have a deal to be made. Most deals fall apart because the numbers aren't there. If you have a good enough deal, then a cash buyer will buy it. You don't need to worry about building a big buyer's list and trying to send it out to everybody and bid them up, see who buys it. If you have a good deal, anybody will buy it. But you don't know if you have a good deal unless you could comp the property correctly. This one video is gonna be the only video you will ever need to determine how to find your comps and how to find ARV for any property in wholesaling real estate in all 50 states. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to comp any property in America using 3 simple steps. Let me walk you through everything because it's actually super simple. Number 1, we need to set our parameters. Now, when you have a property like this, you can see it's a 4-bed, 1-bath, 1,400 square feet about. Now what we do in Zillow, when you have the property right here, all you do is you click out of it and don't do anything. Don't zoom in, nothing. All you do is you press this plus, and this is gonna bring you to the middle of the property. So we can expand out from here. Now, when you go into your filters, you wanna have the same filters, the same property information as your subject property, as close as possible. So square footage is 1417. So I'll go in the middle, I'll go 1250 and maximum 1500. Now you see how many properties that eliminated? Now, year built, you wanna be about the same. I forget what the year built is, but we can skip that one. Sold in the past 12 months. There we go. Property type, only houses. And you wanna look for the bed and bath to be also similar. You don't wanna have like a 7-bedroom, 8-bathroom house. Our house is 4 beds, 1 bath, so you want it to be pretty similar. A 3-bed, 1-bath is good. A 3-bed, 2-bath is good, not ideal. A 4-bed, 2-bath is pretty good. So now what we do, I remove the boundary and I see where this is. So after we set all of our parameters, the next step is to draw our boundary. So I like to just draw a square right here. Make sure I'm not passing any major roads like Yale or Federal. There we go. Now these are gonna be all of our comps that we can determine what the ARV is. Now what I do is I do high to low so that I can see really what ARV comps are. Now, the reason why you don't want to cross any major roads is because right when you get over here, this is going to be a different neighborhood. And right when you get over here, this might be a different neighborhood. And right when you get up here, this also might be another neighborhood. So you want to stick within the same neighborhood. Your ARV can change drastically depending on what side of the street you're on. If you're on this side of the street, these might be multi-million-dollar homes. I don't know. But I don't worry about that. I only worry about the houses that are in my neighborhood. Now you wanna be about half a mile in distance, so you don't wanna be too far out. Even if it's in the same neighborhood, you don't wanna be like, if this line were over here, you don't wanna be like a mile out, you know, nothing like that. You wanna stay close to where your subject property is. Now remember, these are the important things that you need to do when calculating the ARV of a property. Remember, about the same square footage. My square footage was in between these two numbers, so I added the lowest number and the highest number. Now, if the house was, say, 1,490 square feet, then I probably would have moved it up to 1,750 instead of getting too close to 1,500. Lot size, you want to be about the same. Remember, the year built, you want to be the same. It's ideal that you have properties within the past 6 months, but just for the sake of this property, we're going to do 12 months because there's not many comps. If there's not many comps, then you can slowly move out. I never, ever, ever find comps going out 24 months or 36 months. If I do, that means that it's just not a good deal and there's not enough sales. So the maximum I would say is 12 months. Now, if you have a comping software that can do 9 months, that's my favorite to do. But we can apply this, all of these comps. Now, this could be a good comp, right? This is a 4-bed, 3-bath, 1478 square feet, pretty similar. It has 2 extra bathrooms. It also has a garage, which ours doesn't have. Now, a lot of people will say this is the highest sold, so our property is worth $735,000. Now that's wrong. You never want to have your ARV as the highest in the neighborhood. It is never, ever, ever going to be the highest. Maybe it will, but you never want to comp it that way because you don't want to be the outlier. When you're presenting this to an investor, a cash buyer, they don't want to be the one that tests the market to see what prices could get at. They want to see sold proof. So you never, ever, ever want to be the highest. I'm usually looking at ARV properties that are not even the first, second, or third. So I look right around the median. So like right around these 5s and 4s. This is what I'm really looking at to determine what the ARV is. Now, for example, this house right here is sold for $495. It's pretty similar to our house, 4-bed, 2-bath, but it's 1285 square feet. Now, what I see a lot of beginner wholesalers do is say this is 1285 square feet. It's $385 a square foot. So I'll just multiply that by what I have. So 385. Our ARV would be 545. Now, if you use that logic, then you could sell the house for about $550,000. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. The more square footage you have in a home, the cheaper the price per square foot will get. Now, if you get to say 10,000 square feet, then your price per square foot is gonna lower. So the higher square footage you get, the lower your price per square foot generally will be. So you can't use price per square foot to determine what the ARV is. You always wanna just look at similar comps like this one that will actually tell you what the ARV is. Now from here, we can really just use logic to see what the ARV is. I would be looking more around these properties. I wouldn't like to be at these the higher end properties because these ones were testing the market. You never, ever, ever want to be the highest sold. Now, the next step is just look at the pictures. So this one looks almost identical to me. So about the same square footage, 4-bed, 1-bath. I mean, this is like the same house. And you look at the photos. Yeah, this is full ARV. You can tell, right? This one I know has a nicer backyard than mine. So you have to take that into consideration. Yeah, this one's beautiful. This one's a perfect ARV comp at 491. It also has the same. I know that this house has this pitched ceiling upstairs, so that's a pretty identical house. This one sold for $495. This is 1285 square feet. You look at the pictures. Now, granted, this one does have a garage and it looks like some extra storage space, so that's gonna add a little bit of value. Overall, pretty nice. Maybe cabinets could be a little updated, but I think this is pretty much full ARV probably for the neighborhood. Let me look around. Yep. Yeah, this is pretty much ARV. This is the garage, is what it looks like. Ours doesn't have a garage, so you need to take that into consideration. Our landscaping is pretty much the same. So this one sold for $495. Has a garage, but is also a little smaller, so a couple caveats there. And I usually try to find 3 or 4 good comps that I can really determine what the ARV is. This one is also a pretty good comp. 3-bed, 2-bath. Now 3-bed, 2-baths are more desirable than a 4-bed, 1-bath, even though you have more bedrooms. Imagine 4 people having to share 1 bathroom, right? A little bigger than ours, not much. Same pitched ceiling, has a garage. Now this is definitely outdated, I can tell. Nobody likes these brown cabinets anymore. It needs new countertops. This looks like just a basic rental house to me. But bathroom is nice. Now looking at all of these, I typically just take about the average of the three. So this one sold for $495. I think the lower square footage, but the garage keeps that value at about $495. This one sold at $491. This is kind of an identical comp, and this one sold for $505. I would lean towards the lower end of ARV, say $490. This would be probably my main comp when I'm presenting it to a cash buyer. So this one sold for $490, and I think this would probably be pretty much ARV. It's really that simple. This one sold for $475, 1265 square feet. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to compare houses that are brick to houses that are wood. Brick houses are more valuable than wood houses. So you don't want to compare houses that have different build materials or houses that are built real new. Even if it's a wood house and it was built in say 2023 or 2024, you don't want to compare that to your current house. So really it's that simple. I mean, it's really common sense logic, but I think a lot of wholesalers get this step wrong, and it's really not as difficult as you may think it is. And it's really that simple. And now some people might ask, what about in a non-disclosure state where you can't see what things sold for on Zillow? If you don't know, a non-disclosure state means that you can't see what the house sold for publicly unless you have like MLS data. So Zillow won't show you what the house sold for, so you have no data to show. For example, Texas is a big one. If you look anywhere in Texas, all of Texas is a non-disclosure state. So whatever house is sold, look, you can't see any sold prices. So it'll give you no data. So you're not really able to comp at all, really. You're just using Zillow. So what I would recommend in this instance is using something like Propelio. Now, if we take any given property, let's say this one that I was looking at. If you go to Propelio, it's free. You only get 3 comps per month using Propelio, but just use multiple emails or just buy it yourself. Now what you do is you go to comparable sales for your property, you search it right here, and then it'll give you sold. And it's basically the same thing. Now, you can see what it sold for. You can see everything in comparison to your property. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. For Propelio, you should be using Propelio for non-disclosure states. Now there is another software coming out that I will be reviewing pretty soon here. Maximilian Deer's software assigns, and I'll be testing it out and seeing if it's better than Propelio. Apparently you can comp in all 50 states, and just like Propelio where you only get 3 comps, Assigns will give you as many comps as you need, and it works in all 50 states, even in non-disclosure states. So I will be reviewing that. I will see if that is worthwhile, if it is worth your money, but until then, this is really how you comp. It's not that difficult. It's really super simple, and you don't need to watch a bunch of videos on different ways to comp, because this is literally it. It's common sense, and as long as you do it over and over again, then really you'll get the gist of it, and it'll be smooth sailing from there. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me out. I really try to bring the best quality videos to you and really help all of you out. So if this helped you learn how to comp properties, then again, don't forget to subscribe. I know I haven't posted a video in quite a while. I have a lot of videos ready to go out, already edited, things like that. But there's a couple logistics things that I'm working on to help you guys out. I have goodies in different videos that I want to give to you, but I want to make sure that it's the highest quality possible. So just stay tuned. Until then, thank you for watching, and peace.